don't know. I hate to say the worst year of my life, but it was devastating.
She fought for her life against COVID-19. Her uncle and cousin died from the virus. Her apartment complex threatened to evict her, and she lost her job.
We first introduced you to Morgan Blue 1 year ago. The 27-year-old, just released from the hospital, shared her experience with doctors not initially believing she contracted the coronavirus.
Ariane Perret caught up with Blue today to share the positives she's found through her pain.
I've caught up with Morgan Blue several times since we first met a year ago. Phone conversations, text messages, and Zoom calls. Today, as more and more people are becoming vaccinated and she's feeling better, we got to meet in person. Just one sign of many. Her year of heartbreak is turning around.
You couldn't have told me that I would have made it out alive. And that is how I felt in those moments. Because I had never been that sick before in my whole entire life.
1 year ago today, Morgan Blue finally returned home after a combined 12 days in and out of the ICU fighting COVID-19. Doctors initially sent the now 27-year-old home believing she had a kidney infection. But when Blue couldn't catch her breath, she says her aunt, whose husband and son were already on ventilators, encouraged her to check herself back in. While fighting for her own life, her uncle, Freddie Brown, and her cousin, Freddie Brown III, would lose theirs.
It's just hard for me to understand. You know, what was it about me that was so special, you know? Sometimes I, in a sense, kind of feel somewhat guilty.
Blue says her dad died when she was 1, so her uncle stepped in, taking her to every father-daughter dance. Her cousin, just 20 years old, was the best person she knew.
I didn't get that chance to, you know, kind of say goodbye. And that's something that is painful.
Instead, she was on her own, recovering in quarantine. Months later, Blue would lose her job because she says she couldn't return on their timeline. The virus was still impacting her. She now has asthma, fatigue, and throbbing leg cramps, which is why she says it's so frustrating to still see people not taking the coronavirus pandemic seriously.
People will never understand the extent of a COVID survivor's mindset or experience, you know, until you actually have went through it. Granted, I don't wish it upon anyone. I don't wish it upon my worst enemy.
As she then faced eviction for not paying rent, Blue's grandma passed away and her mom suffered a stroke. Thankfully, she says her mom is doing okay now and she has a new job she loves, helping her to take care of her bills.
It was, if anything, a humbling experience because I never thought that I would be that person, you know, that needed that help. But I was, and it taught me to just take value in even the small things.
Through all of the devastation, Blue says she had to find the good. Her positive attitude is magnetic, but she says it's not always present. Remembering all that she's lost, Blue still has countless tough days.
My faith, my belief in God, my belief that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. That is what helps me kind of realign myself.
A realignment helping Blue acknowledge there's a reason she made it through.
I'm still here, and that has to mean that there's still purpose.
Ann Perret, ABC 12 News.
Maybe her purpose, part of it, is sharing that story with everyone. Yeah, so inspirational.
Absolutely.
Morgan Blue was one of the first cases of COVID-19 in Genesee County. Now we have nearly 25,000 confirmed cases.
Blue says not only is this crisis not over, survivors are still dealing with long-term effects a year later. She's asking everyone to keep taking this virus seriously, and so much we could learn from her and sharing that story right there. And just, you know, we're glad and grateful that she's here to be able to tell that story.
Absolutely. Brave of her to share that too.